No, we're good. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular session of council for June 9th, 2026. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the town YouTube channel to view later or at your own leisure. We are also holding tonight's meeting in South Fred Hall. We're doing a trial run to see how it's working out. And so I'd like to call the meeting to order. Councillor Davies, Councillor Shank. Okay. We need a motion. Okay. All righty. Opening proceedings. We're going to stand and sing "O Canada" for the national anthem. Everybody look at the flag at the back. We have a flag. O Canada, our home and native land, through the hatred, love, in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you. Okay. Closed session meeting pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act, scheduled for 6 p.m. in order to discuss confidential SR 1354-2026 sale of former land, Suddard Lands, section 239. Yeah. Recommendation that council rise and report from closed session, and further all recommendations made within closed session be hereby adopted. Looking for a motion. Councillor Davies, Councillor Hicks, thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Get that. Okay, so we're looking for recommend the council. Okay, looking for a motion to ratify closed session direction. Confidential SR 1354-2026 land, former Suddard Lands. Recommendation the council receive for information in confidential SR 1354-2026 land sale, former Suddard Lands report, and further council authorize and direct staff to proceed with the staff recommendation as outlined in the report. Mover, Councillor Davey, Councillor Martin. Okay, can I get it up? Oh, all in favor of that motion? Motion's carried. Okay, adoption of the agenda. Get an adoption of the agenda. Councillor Davey, Councillor Hicks. And all in favor? It's carried. Adoption of the agenda. Recommendation that the agenda of the regular session of council dated June 9th, 2026 be adopted as present. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Deputations. There are no scheduled deputations for tonight. Should go right on through the 6.3 then. Yeah. Okay, correspondence on the agenda, item 6.3. Is there any unfinished business? Seeing none. Item 8, administration consent agenda. We'll go through the administration agenda. Council meeting for the regular session of council, May 26, 2026. We got anything on that they want to talk about? No. Committee minutes, Municipal Heritage Committee and Arts Advisory Committee and Market Square Advisory Committee. Anybody? Correspondence for information, items dated June 9th, 2026. Nothing on that. Boards and Advisory Committee, monthly reports for June 26. Growth and Infrastructure, Product Care Association of Canada Lighting and Recycling Promotion and Education Community Collaboration Pilot Agreement. I'll talk on that. How far do I go on? Okay. Financial and IT Services 2025 Annual Development Charge DC report. You want to pull that out? Financial and IT Services report, use of municipal accommodation tax reserve fund and policy. Look, Councilor Shank.
Yeah, I just want to confirm that there's certain items that can be allocated for. I was reading through what it can be done, what it can't be done, and what it can be used for. But is it giving the delegate of authority that you guys have, being the first year, you're going to keep new council in the loop of what's going, how much is actually coming in, and what is it actually being budgeted for, and everything else, just to keep their feet wet, just so so everybody understands the process, what's going on.
Sorry, to Councillor Shank, yes, so it will come back as part of the annual budget process. So you'll see some expense we're going to use those funds that would come through as part of the annual budget for approval, I guess, at that point in time.
So the only reason why I was saying that is because if you hire some Southern students that are going to be going for tourism, all right, that can be used. But if there's other items that can't be used, it's just as, it's like any budget. Just because you got it doesn't mean you have to spend it. You know what I mean? So that's why I just want to make sure that it's not I want this to build, so when something happens in the municipality, you know, we had some individuals that went ahead and they said they'd like to build onto the Best and Bash Arena, all right, on the side for other events or anything else that we kind of build, and over time, you know what I mean, this might definitely be a foot in the door rather than going after the taxpayers, that we kind of, it's like a little nest egg for some of the recreational events that the town might need. You know, that's all.
Just a follow up to that. So yes, all the funds incoming will go into the municipal accommodation tax reserve, which you'll see later on the agenda today to create that reserve. So they go into that. Staff cannot withdraw from that without council resolution or through the budget process. So all of that come through approval. And any unspent funds will just sit in the reserve until such time council chooses to utilize those.
I love it. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Moving right along. Financial and IT Services Heritage Race donation. Executive Services update on mandated items. Closed session meeting transparency. Executive Services update on mandate item reporting system. Executive Services land sale amendment bylaw. Seeing nothing on that. Okay. So consent agenda motion. The council consent to the approval of the following routine items. That the minutes of the regular session of council dated May 26, 2026 be adopted as presented. That the Municipal Heritage Committee and Arts Advisory Committee and Market Square Advisory Committee minutes of May 14th, June 2nd of 2026 be received for information. That the correspondence for information items dated June 9th, 2026 be received. The council received for the information of the board and advisory committee's monthly report for June 2026. The council received for information the growth and infrastructure report, Product Care Association of Canada Lighting, Recycling Promotion and Education Community Collaboration Pilot Agreement. And further, that the council endorsed the Product Care Association of Canada Lighting, Recycling Promotion and Education Committee Collaboration Pilot Agreement and authorizes the mayor and clerk to execute the agreement on behalf of the town. The council received for information the Financial and IT Services 2025 Annual DC Report. The council received for information Financial and IT Services Use of Municipal Accommodation Tax Reserve Fund Policy, and further the council adopt the use of the Municipal Accommodation Tax Reserve Funds Policy as presented. The council received for information Financial and IT Services Heritage Race Donation Report. And further, the council accept the donation of $35,532.64 from the Napanee Heritage Race to support the in-town rail trail revitalization. The council received for information the executive services update on mandated items, closed session meetings transparency, and further, the council consider this mandate item complete for the current term of council. The council received for information the executive services update on mandate item reporting system, and further the council consider the task completed for the 2022 to 2026 term, and that any further reporting requirements be established by the next term of council. And the council received for information the executive services land amendment bylaw report. Motion on that. Councilor Shank, Councilor Hicks, all in favor? It's carried. Okay, administrative consent agenda. We already did that. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, item for consideration. Parks and Recreation, Culture, Community Events, and application for Napanee Heritage Race. Mr. Brown's going to speak to that.
Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. So the Napanee Heritage Race is an annual community road race that has been run for many years, as you know. This year, for the first time, the Lennox and Addington County General Hospital Foundation will run the event. They have submitted their community event application, again, for the first time since our new community events policy has been passed. So I'm bringing it to you for your consideration and approval. So the 2026 Napanee Heritage Race supports local healthcare priorities and community-based health and wellness initiatives benefiting Greater Napanee and surrounding communities. Event organizers are committed to maintaining a safe and well-coordinated event environment through proactive planning, risk management, emergency preparedness, and collaboration with municipal services, volunteers, and community partners. The event date is this coming Saturday, June 13th. The event location, the race will start and it will end at the Museum of Lennox and Addington on 97 Thomas Street. There are some event itinerary times there in the reports. So everything happens first thing in the morning, and it will be wrapped up and cleaned up by 11 a.m. The Napanee Heritage Race consists of two events, a children's 1 mile run and a 5K walk/run. The kids' 1 mile event will take place at 8 a.m. starting in front of the county courthouse on Thomas Street East. The route will consist of 2 laps, north on East Street to Isabella Street, south on John Street to Thomas Street, and ending back at the LNA County Museum. The 5-kilometer walk will begin at approximately 7:45, and then the runners will take off at 8:30. Both events will begin in front of the courthouse on Thomas Street East. They'll follow that same 1 mile path that the kids' 1 mile run. They'll come back in front of the courthouse, and then they will head out towards Elma, back down to Bridge, where they will cross over to Camden Road, and they'll go up all the way to King Street, and then they will work on King Street, up Barrett, over to Church. When they go around Church, they will come through the little cemetery loop, back to Church and around and back around, and they'll basically follow that same path when they get back to Camden, back to the courthouse. What's really important to note for council and the community is that the runners won't be running on the road and the roads are not closed. So they'll be running mainly on sidewalks and shoulders of road where there is no sidewalks, in particularly Church Street. There'll be volunteers at all of the different corners and intersections, and there'll also be OPP positioned at the busiest spots, performing traffic calming measures with the lights on, warning traffic about what is happening. So traffic management and traffic control was one of the things that staff identified early on. We need to talk about this. We need to really plan and make sure that the participants are safe. We sat down with our OPP partners, the race organizers, public works staff, and event staff to actually make some adjustments to the route as it was in previous years. So we are confident the route as it is now keeps participants safe. It allows them to cross from sidewalk across the street to another sidewalk where there's already stop measures in place for traffic. Plus we have volunteers and OPP at some of the busier spots. So like I said, OPP will be positioned at the intersection of Bridge Street and Alma Avenue, as well as at Camden Road where King Street comes across to provide traffic calming measures where participants need to cross the road to access the other sidewalk. There will be temporary local traffic only signs, barriers along Thomas Street East between John and Alma and at Adelphi Street and Alma from Bridge Street East until after the last participant passes through. So local traffic will be able to still go in and out. We're just trying to keep the majority of traffic that might be interested in what's going on up at the courthouse to go in there. Well, this will also allow some parking along those streets where the race isn't happening because there will be obviously a lot of participants and they'll need places to park. Temporary road closure is needed at the intersection of Dundas Street East and Alma Ave to prevent traffic from coming from Highway 2 onto Dundas Street and making that right-hand turn onto Bridge heading out to Camden. So they'll need to go straight through that intersection to the next street over to detour. So we'll have detour signs out as well. Like I mentioned, there's a list here of on-course volunteers. They have lots of volunteers, race volunteers at those intersections to guide the participants around the route and make sure that everyone's following those practices of staying on the sidewalk and the shoulder so they aren't in the way of traffic. With that, there is a map included in the report, and if the council has any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Question from Mr. Brown. Okay, we have a recommendation in front of us. Moved by Councillor Davies, seconded by Councillor Norrie. All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Excellent. Okay. Next, we've got the Growth and Infrastructure 2025 Annual Monitoring Reports for the South Fredericksburg and Roblin Waste Disposal Sites and the former Water Street landfill. And Andrew's going to speak to that.
Yeah, through your worship to council, what you have in front of you is 3 annual reports for our 3 waste disposal sites. I'm just going to quickly highlight a few things for each waste site, starting with the Water Street. So this marks the first full year under the new ECA for the site. We're still working with the consultant Pitchin to establish some sampling trends and potential contingency plans. There is some seasonal seeps which remain at that site, which we monitor and sample. And we're working with Pitchin to remove some sediment that's been present in some of the wells that's been causing some of the elevated levels of contaminants we've seen in those samples. The Roblin Waste Disposal Site, which is a closed capped landfill and it's used as a waste transfer site now, remains the same environmentally, where sample trends have on surface and groundwater have remained the same over the last several years. The South Fredericksburg landfill site has the potential to last another 50 years with our current fill rates, and if we are able to follow the fill plan that we have had Pitchin create for us. In order to achieve that, we're going to have to put some significant investment into that site and planning. Environmentally, the sampling at that site trends remain the same as they have in the past. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Andrew? Counselor Hicks.
Excuse me, thank you through your Deputy Mayor. I'm just wondering. The investments, is that for a proper compact?
Through your worship, yeah, so one investment would be proper compacting equipment. Another investment that staff would like to bring forth to council in the next couple of years would be to change our current footprint there and kind of start anew with the proper compacting equipment, so we don't have so much airspace taken up with fill and the material that's in there currently.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Counselor Shank?
Yeah, I have, the Water Street. Is there any, I don't even know that now. What is it costing us? Because it operated in the old town between the early 50s to the late 70s, in your report. You know, what is that costing us a year to monitor that?
Yeah, so through your worship, and I might get Ellen to pull up the data. I believe it's around $10,000 we budgeted for the year. It's been nice that staff's been able to work with the Ministry of Environment to get an ECA for that site, because we've had different environmental officers come through the years, different studies we've had to commission, different work we've had to do there. We now have a standard sampling regime, so it makes it much easier to budget for going forward.
I brought that up because I know what the cost was in the past. It was quite high, and then to have a standard and that Crowfoot Packer, so you're gonna put that in the budget for the South Fred, so it'll be still going, and I'll be long gone and dead, but all I'm saying, I wanna keep it going for the grandkids. So the Crowfoot Packer, because there's a need down too. So there we go. That's all my questions.
Any other questions? Hey, we've got a staff recommendation in front of us. Moved by Counselor Hicks, seconded by Counselor Shank. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Yay. Growth and Infrastructure Provincial Development Charge Reduction Program. Michael's going to speak to this.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, to the rest of council. I just wanted to highlight on June the 1st, the province of Ontario released the application intake for the Development Charge Reduction Program, which was announced a couple of months ago. So this is an $8.8 billion capital fund, 4.4 billion provided by the province and matched by the federal government. The intake is requiring municipalities to reduce their residential development charges by between 30 to 50% or greater, with projects being identified in such application that would be directly tied to the funding allocation that the province would provide. The submission due date is June 19th at 10 a.m. An extremely tight turnaround time for such a robust application submission. Typically, these funding intakes are typically months long. You have a long lead time, long window to get a good application put together. This is an extremely tight turnaround, but staff would be able to commit to putting an application in. We do need time to digest the materials, which are still in a draft state, still not able to download those and fill the application form out fully through the province's website, but we understand it's to be uploaded shortly to enable municipalities to do so. I just really wanted to highlight to council that this has been announced. We are looking at it. And if council wishes, we would certainly be able to proceed with an application, but we'd be dedicating a lot of staff time right up front to put the necessary materials together to do so. If we don't proceed, we could be missing out on a substantial amount of funding, essentially a guaranteed amount of funding that would support housing enabling projects identified through our development charge background study. So we really need to dig into our background study, see what projects are high on the list, high dollar figure projects that are going to result in the most housing units being enabled to really shine in the province's eyes to potentially get some funding. So really tonight, looking for council's direction to direct staff to put together an application or not. It's up to council whether you wish to pursue this or not. We would be able to do so. It would take a lot of time and effort, but we could certainly do it. There are risks. Risks could be that the 10% municipal share, so 90% of the funding. So let's just say we had a $10 million project. The province would provide 90% of that through the funding. The municipality needs to provide the balance, the 10%. If there are cost overruns, the municipality would need to absorb those cost overruns. So there are risks in that. There are risks that, you know, the project proceeds, but the development doesn't actually happen. So we've enabled the housing, but the housing doesn't come. It would come at a small cost to the municipality, given that these are largely funded through development charges and not non-levy impacting fees. But there is that level of risk in this. So the reason the province and the federal government put this together is really to incentivize builders to build more units to hit their housing targets. And their hope is that through municipalities reducing these DCs, building these projects and enabling those housing units, that those units will eventually actually come online. So there's some risk, there's some potential big wins here in securing guaranteed funding, which otherwise, if we would be paying for such projects solely from development charges, we might not get those. Those units might not come to fruition. So this would be a guarantee in a sense as well. But really wanted to highlight the tight turnaround time. A lot of municipalities are grappling with this 18-day window. And a lot have a lot of questions, and we wouldn't be surprised if the province pushes out that deadline, just given the pushback that a lot of people are giving right now. So really just looking for council's input, whether you want to see staff put the time and effort into making this one-time single intake submission to potentially access this major amount of funding or not. If so, we would look to come back with some draft materials at our special June 17th meeting in an effort to be able to meet that June 19th submission window. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Michael on that?
Go ahead.
Councilor.
Thank you. So Michael, I'm just trying to get this through my head here. So we're expected to reduce our development charges.
Yep.
Is this funding, does that replace that?
Correct. So
So-
through Mr. Deputy Mayor, it would offset it. So if we extrapolate and we anticipate this X many units to come online, we could anticipate collecting, you know, a total dollar figure from those development charges. We would look to prioritize projects that meet or exceed that amount of money effectively through this to help offset.
So we need to kind of estimate how much money we're going to be, and then apply for that amount, or is that? What happens if we don't use that amount of money or whatever? Like what?
Through Mr. Deputy Mayor, we would need to commit to up to 5 projects.
Okay.
Specific projects, up to $1 threshold per project. They would need to start construction by 2030 and be finished by 2035. So there's a long window for that. What staff would look to do to rationalize the application is get a sense of what's our growth rate, how many units are typically coming online, and extrapolate that out over time to see what would our loss in air quotes be, and would this funding make up that gap? And we would look to prioritize projects that help close that gap.
Thank you.
Yeah,
But
my suggestion is, my voice would be, is definitely to apply for it. They're factoring in the 10-year horizon, all right? And it's only a single intake, so if you miss it, you're gonna be down. And if you have another municipality you're competing for housing or anything else like this for, and they're offering it at 10% of the development bylaw charge on your property, where here you're still at 100%. It's being competitive. All right, the options are there. I would put the staff and resources to have put in for it. And so if somebody is gonna be putting a lot of housing in or whatever they're putting in, and they can reduce their by 90%, it makes it more incentive for them to maybe not build one, but build two, or not build 10, maybe build 20. I don't know, I haven't read the numbers, but it would make more sense to definitely apply. Can I ask our treasurer there? Ellen, what do you think?
I still think there's a lot of unknowns. I have some hesitancies. There's some questions that are still unanswered around staffing, and what we're able to apply funding against. So for example, the wastewater treatment plant, may not be an eligible project because we can't stack those funds against our use of funding that we've already received. So if that project is ineligible as one of our 5, I think there's some risk in that. But perhaps there are other ones that we've got built into our ZZ background study that we can make up some of that difference. I think there's a good opportunity here as well. This is guaranteed money, but you're risking having to reduce your DCs on the other side of that. The thing that I find is reducing the level of risk is because the reduction on your DCs is only on your residential portion. So any of your non-res DCs would remain at full pop, and those are going to bring in the higher amounts of DC revenue. So that still protects us quite a lot. Yeah, it's still challenging given the limited amount of information we have at this time, but I think there's an opportunity here, but it's still.
Can I continue? So as you go through the process, you find out more information. You'll weigh the pros against the cons, but to go ahead and say, no, you don't know all the facts yet. I would say definitely let's look into it. Because if somebody's putting up a multi-res or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And if it could, help that developer save some money, then. But it all sounds good, but there's always that little that little nuance that's somewhere in that line, but until we go through the process, find out. I'd say it's worth I think.
I just had a quick question. Michael, what the recommendation is to bring back a draft report what this may look like on the 17th in our special session. Is that doable?
To you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, it's very tight. It'd be extremely challenging given that the fact that we don't have the actual application to fill out yet. We have a draft, but it's not the formal application that you need to fill out. So we know the content. I would say we could identify projects, identify trends, identify a gap in if we cut by 50%, here's the gap. By 90%, 100%, here are the gaps, and here are the projects that we would identify to close those gaps. I think we could do a report to that effect, and in the background still be building the actual application form, which is due in 10 days.
And you think that would still give you enough time to get this in, because it's got to be in by the 19th.
Yep.
But they may push it out, but for all intents and purposes, we'd want to be ready to go for the 19th. So.
Yep.
So that's what we have for staff recommendation. The council receive for information structure, provide development, provincial development charges reduction program report. Further, the council directs staff to report back to council at the June 17th special session with a draft application material. Everybody, I got a motion on that. Oh, sorry.
And just for council's awareness, we are looking to publish on Friday that content. I probably won't be able to get that done by Friday. It might be a Monday, Tuesday. It might come in a little bit late, the draft materials here. We'll just look for a little bit of leeway there, given our time constraints.
Thank you. The other thing that I would add is, and I think council, if they want to follow this, we can certainly do that. I would just ask that we don't ask Michael for anything else, and that we expect that we're not going to see Michael for a little while.
Yes.
I think this is one of those cases where you will go to your manager, say, I'd like to work from my home. Nobody can knock on my door next week. But yeah, no, it's understood. And reading through some of the other the resolution tracker that follows this. I can see it in it. It's gonna be, are you gonna require David on this as well?
Yeah, it might become an all hands on deck for certain items. But also, I'm gonna look to scope those asks of others.
I would move, did we already move? I'll move staff recommendation.
Okay, by Councillor Hicks, second by Councillor Davies. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Sorry, that's it. Alrighty, executive service recommendation to pause parking bylaw review.
All right.
After, you know, maybe you need all hands on deck, so it's just a no-brainer.
I appreciate that. We are not throwing out the work that we've done on this. It's just with everything else on the go, we think it's appropriate to pause and pick this up again early in the next term of council. Just so that we're being clear on that.
Any questions on that? No, we do have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? That motion's carried.
Okay,
I think you get this, Jess.
I've got the next one as well.
Yeah, you got the next one. Okay, so executive services resale of internment rights.
Okay, so this is being brought before council because currently our cemetery bylaw says we do allow third-party sales of, so if you bought a plot 50 years ago, you haven't used it, you don't want it anymore, you can find somebody else in the community to sell it to. We do allow you to do that. The legislation says if we say you're not allowed to do it, then we have to buy them back. If we let you do it, it's silent. So our bylaw right now says, come talk to us, make us an offer. We'll see if we want to buy it or not, which is challenging for staff to administer. So we are looking for some clarity. We've had 2 asks come in the last couple of weeks. One, somebody has a plot, they want to exchange it for a cemetery niche. One, somebody has 4 family plots from the 80s that they'd like to get rid of. And they want to know if the town's willing to buy them back. If we buy them back, we have to pay current list price that's in our bylaw. We don't have any options to pay a different price. If a third-party sale happens, we're still involved. We still validate, yes, this is legitimate. These are legitimate unused interment rights. It's not a scam. So we are still involved in signing off on all the paperwork, but we're not necessarily obligated to buy them back. There's several options here for you in this report. Staff recommendation is to maintain the third-party sales, to say the town will do exchanges. If you have a columbarium niche and you want a plot, or you have a plot and you want a niche, or you have a niche in Roblin and you want a niche in Riverview, those are all reasonable transfers and we support that, and that's delegated down to the cemetery administrator. She can handle those transactions. There's some other alternate options. We could bring every single request back to council, which is what the bylaw requires right now. You could say absolutely never, we don't want to consider these under any circumstances, or you could say no more third-party sales, we'll buy them all. Those are all your options. So happy to take any questions.
Go ahead, Councillor Hicks.
I would move staff recommendation for option 2C, which I think alleviates most of the burden for staff. And I don't know as it's actually our role as council to be approving who should be there. Approving the transfer of, I think Sonia's more than capable of that, so I would move staff recommendation for 2C.
And the town will not be buying back. That's what the town 2C is. Tell them
Want me to read option 2C?
that. I just wanted to.
Option 2C, in addition to permitting the third-party sales, council establishes specific criteria where the town will consider buying back interment rights, such as when an application wishes to in exchange a plot for a niche or a niche for a plot, and delegates the authority to staff to make those repurchasing decisions.
May I ask for clarification?
Sure.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Jessica, Councillor Schenk has just said that when we staff recommendation. Oh, where are we? Up in the under recommendation, the second paragraph, the town will not buy back internment rights under option 2C. But if I read option 2C in the report, it does say that we will buy back or swap out a plot for a niche or cemetery to cemetery.
Yeah, so it's, the recommendation is that as a general practice, we will not buy them back. But we will, and if council delegates the authority in the circumstance of exchanging one type of interment right for another within one of the town's active cemeteries.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then also just for clarification, this will require a bylaw amendment, and we plan to bring a couple other amendments, and it's a very lengthy BAO notice approval process. So we're going to do it all at once.
Yeah.
So you'll see another cemetery for just a couple months from us.
So I'm
Shank?
So Jeff, just so I understand this correctly. Because if somebody went ahead and bought them in the 80s, what the cost would be, and you get paid back at list. Their percentage of markup is, they're getting paid pretty good on their, and so I don't wanna go down that road. So point is, if the municipality stays out, if they wanna sell it to somebody else, then great. That's reasonable under your staff recommendation, but I don't wanna go ahead and say, I'm gonna use taxpayers' dollars. Because somebody bought a plot for $200, but now it's selling at $1,200, now I have to give them $1,200 in the last 20 years, you know what I mean? It's just, it looks bad, it sounds bad, it's just wrong. So if they want to sell it to somebody else wants to buy that plot, I don't have a problem with it, but am I getting?
Yeah, that's correct. And that's the reason for the staff recommendation. There's a potential very large financial risk to the municipality if we say we'll buy them all back. There could be quite a few unused interment rights that were purchased for $100, $150 that we would have to buy back at $1,200.
That's what I got for it. I didn't want to do this.
Like Councillor Hicks?
through you, Deputy Mayor. So having said that, if a niche today is worth, I can't remember, but we'll say $1,500, I know it's not that much. And their plot was worth $200 when they bought it in the 80s. Are they paying more for the niche?
So the
If-
plot,
Swap?
it's not a direct swap, so they would still have to sell back the plot at current plot rates. We would have to do the paperwork for the care and maintenance funds, how much care and maintenance funds got paid in initially, how much is still owing for that plot. And then buy whatever alternate interment rights at current list rate. And then the one that was transferred back to us, we could sell we could resell it to someone else down the road.
Okay.
On whatever timeline that might be.
That's how I understood it, okay. And the care and maintenance as well, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, so I'll still move staff recommendation, option 2C.
Okay, the mover, Councillor Shank, seconder, all in favor? You see it? Thank you. Executive service resolution and mandate tracker. Mr. Grant's going to speak to this.
I am, and thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and members of council. This is our bi-monthly resolution tracker update and mandate letter update. You'll also note that there are some items that we're putting on council's radar that we're recommending for removal. Nearing the end of council's term, it is our goal to zero out, so to speak, the resolution tracker and the mandate items. Taking a look at capacity and where we want to put our energies, I don't know that we're going to be able to complete all of the items. I think that we'll be able to complete the vast majority of them. But I wanted to present them this evening, give council some time to think about them, and then bring them forward for discussion on the 23rd. So over the past 2 months, we've completed a number of resolutions, and the numbers you'll find there in the areas of energy generation, traffic signage, the Alto high-speed rail project, you might recall, costs associated with the town's response to homelessness, municipal accommodation tax, public transit, financing application for the wastewater plant, land sales, and an inquiry related to the South Fred landfill. Items that remain in progress. We continue to work on Access E11 and in fact are prepared to bring forward an update to that, which will allow our council to take a look at a high level, what complaints have come in what part of town, and you can break it down by time frame so you can compare and contrast different areas and different timeframes. And the benefit of that is you'll be able to identify specific issues, either townwide or in your ward, that you might want more information on because you're noticing trends. There will be the community improvements plan RFP, community showcase procedures at the Best and Bash Arena, impost bylaw related to existing development, private water connections. We're currently awaiting final costing on road resurfacing, Market Square renovations and policies, and that work continues at pace, and road reclassifications. In addition to council resolutions, SLT has been working and making a lot of progress on mandate items since 2024. Over the past 2 months, we have completed and begun implementing corporate communications policy and associated guidelines. You'll also see items coming out of an earlier mandate item of the corporate communications strategy in terms of newsletters and council decision newsletters that people can sign up for. I recommend that every member of the public sign up. Very easy on our website. And there has been a number of items that are in progress, and some of them are actually complete, but we're trying to manage the agenda. 2 of the items were on the consent agenda this evening. The ones that you should expect in short order, a comprehensive employee awareness program. I'm pleased to say we do have an intranet for staff, and we're developing a policy with staff from across the corporation's help, just to make sure that we can have all the information in one place, including all policies. As part of that, I'm pleased to say IT Services has found a very innovative solution to allow people through artificial intelligence that we already purchase to search in a very easy way policies and bylaws to make it easy for people to understand what expectations are. Improvements to regular reporting on key items and regulatory reporting to council. There's work undergoing on planning services, digital delivery, negotiations, which went to arbitration with the full-time firefighters union, and that is underway. Ongoing work to improve transparency related to in-camera meetings. You will have seen those on the agenda this evening as well. Service standards for finance and IT, legislative and bylaw services, and growth and infrastructure services. Special meeting on those, all of which are done, and final touches are being put on the presentation. And I believe, if I am not mistaken, that will bring us to the end of service standards, and we will have identified and articulated what services we provide specifically, how to describe them, the legislation that drives them, and how we'll measure those. So there's a lot of work that went into that. A development of a corporate grants acquisition policy and related processes is underway, and the completion of a fire master plan. So all of those items are underway, and will be coming forward. And there is a list, a long list of the items we've already completed. In terms of mandate items, we are in the neighborhood of 65%, and in the next 6 weeks, we'll be over 80%. I would say I'm pleased with the progress the team has made, particularly on the resolution items that council has given us, the mandate items you've approved for us. A lot of heavy lifting, and these are not insubstantial items. So land development bylaw, delegation of authority bylaw, procurement policy, and there has been an immense amount of work. So with that, what I would ask council to consider over the next few weeks, some items we're recommending to come off the list, including this evening where we talked about the parking bylaw. We believe it needs a full study. Plans to explore the repurposing of the VIA Rail station waiting room, review of a municipal tree planting policy, and a broader review of RVs permitted on private property, not to be confused with encampments on private property. And with respect to mandate letters, a review of the fees and charges, we're recommending delaying that. The work has proceeded at pace, but I would suggest we need some more work with that. But we are going to recommend that we bring forward through the budget process that fees and charges are reviewed annually. And we will be prepared to do that in the new term of council, should that be the council's direction. Space allocation and standardization of town facilities. That work is ongoing, but still amount of work. We want to get it right about how user groups are using all the different various facilities in town and how they align. There's some policy work that needs to be done on that. And public engagement framework and guidelines. Candidly, that's a big item that requires more time than we have to do it right. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody got any questions for Grant?
No, you have a good team. You get things accomplished. Thank you. Thank you all the staff. I know there's a lot of asks that council is supposed to do, a lot of other stuff, and you have a lot of asks yourself, so yeah, that's a mouthful. You definitely have got things done, so it's great. Thank you.
Councilor Hicks?
You done. Yeah, I agree. The last 2 years have been a whirlwind of activity that is only going to set up the future councils and the town for success. So, thank you. And if you could all please thank your staff, because I know it's been a team effort and a lot of collaboration has gone on between departments. I do have one question about municipal tree planting policy. Is there a policy already in place? And this is a view of the policy, or there is no policy at all?
There's no policy in place at this point in time.
I feel that given current topics, this is probably something that, if it could be still on the priority list, but lower down, if it's something that could actually.
So through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, these are listed for council's consideration, and that's exactly what we mean by them. So wanted to give you a couple of weeks to think about it. We remain at your disposal over the next week, should you have any questions. And if it can be done, we can reprioritize to make sure that, because these are priorities you've given us, and we'll do what you tell us to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Like Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, Matthew, I just want to say that I've had nothing but good things to say about our staff over this month term of council, and the last couple of days has been even more enlightening to me, because I had a couple of issues, and as you know, basically the staff solved them before I even asked. So it was almost like they were thinking what was on my mind at the time. So, which is a scary thought, but no, I'm just happy with the way things have gone and the way everybody's completing their tasks and their jobs. So it's just amazing, actually. And it was pretty scary, though, like I said, the last couple of days, because when I'm about to ask something and then it's answered before I ask, it's pretty incredible. So just want to put that out there.
To you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, thank you for that. And candidly, all the kudos are deserved of everyone at that table. And their teams, they're the people that are doing the work. You know, we appreciate council's confidence in us and the trust and confidence that you share with us. And we'll make sure we pass that along to our teams.
Yes, please do, Mr. Grant. We have an absolute phenomenal staff. And they don't get enough recognition as they deserve most of the time. I mean, no, makes our job look so simple and so easy with what staff does, and it's really nice to see we have a team and everybody's rowing in the same direction. And the last few years, the accomplishments that we've seen, a lot of accomplishments that the average person will never see. But the accomplishments that we've done is just, it's phenomenal and second to none. And I'd like to thank each and every one of them, of our staff and our managers, all of our department heads for just a fantastic job.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. We know that our best days are ahead of us. I'm confident in that.
Easier days. If Chris could go ahead, sorry, Chris, to put you on the spot, but the lack of information sometimes that I hear out in the general, because then there's innuendos and then there's vicious rumors and then, of course, then non-factual. Could you mention just publicly about what the docks and why it had,
You know, my thunder.
I have not proceeded to that because of, the agencies and everything else. It's just that then everybody knows why and how come and when it's supposed to be, when are they supposed to be fixed.
Mr. Brown up here right now.
Sorry, Chris, I figured
I'll get closer to the microphone.
there we go.
Yes, thank you for that. So staff had just received our permits that we had applied for from Quinte Conservation, as well as we've just received our approvals from the MNR. So now that we have those approvals in hand, we just received them Friday afternoon. We are now in contact with the contractor to do the work. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get to it right away because it's, of course, busy season and they have scheduled work that they need to complete. So they have assured us that they will be there third week of July to do the work. It's probably about a 2 to 3 day job. They will, if things change, get there sooner if they can, and they have assured us of that. So what we're doing is we're repairing that dock. We have to replace a pile that's in the water. And so we've purchased silt screen to go out as part of the permit process to make sure that sediment, when the pile is drove into the ground, that sediment that does rise will fall in place. We'll post the permits on site. We'll likely need to take a few of those parking spots that are facing the dock for equipment and machinery, of course, when that is done. So there'll be public notice that goes out ahead of time to let people know. Boat trailer parking will still be where it is now, so there won't be any effect there. The intention is to repair that dock the way it was before, and get that safe and take the fence down and continue on. It has taken a considerable amount of time, and we totally understand the frustration that some public members have had, but we have to get these permits to do in-water work, and we've done that, and we will get this done as soon as we can. Looking ahead into the near future, it is my intention to bring a report during budget consideration to do some pre-engineering at the docks on both sides of the river to get us closer to shovel ready to be able to replace that docking on both sides of the river. That will allow us to go out for government funding, for tourism and things like that, but also gives council a line of sight on what that construction cost will be to replace those docks. Those docks are tired. They're made of wood. They've been in water for a long time. We know that, it's now time to start looking at replacing those docks instead of doing sort of those Band-Aid fixes, year in, year out. We've repaired them quite a bit. It's now time to look to the bigger picture. And so staff does intend on bringing that information forward, doing some pre-engineering work to get a shovel ready to apply for those grants.
Thank you. Being ahead of the curve, that's when you have good staff. Perfect. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Okay, so back to Mr. Grantler. We have a staff recommendation that council receive the bi-monthly council resolution track report, and further the council's recommended list of resolution and mandate revisions be submitted to the June 23rd, 2026 council agenda for discussion.
So
Moved by Councillor Shank, seconded by Councillor Davey. All in favor? Carried. That brings us right into bylaws. Okay, so for all bylaws, if there's no desire to debate or amend the bylaw, looking for a motion that the bylaw be read a first, second, and third and final passed. So bylaw number 2026-052 to amend bylaw 2023-0067. And bylaw 2026-0053 to amend sale of land bylaw 2025-0048. Bylaw number two. Oh,
We only do one.
just those two? Okay.
always done.
Oh, okay.
we can do it together, but it's whatever.
Okay, just said it here, we can do multiples. Okay.
can do the ones.
All right, so let's go back to item 10. So can I get a motion for that?
I'll move.
Counselor Hicks, second by Counselor Davy. All in favor? That motion is carried for a second. Item 10.2. Bylaw for the 2026-053 to amend sale of land, bylaw 2025-048. Bylaw number 2026-053 to amend bylaw 2025-048 disposition of land. Moved by Counselor Norrie, seconded by Counselor Martin. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay. Bylaw number 2026-052 to amend reserve funds by land number 2023-067. We just did that, okay. So where are we at? Information for. Pardon me? Yeah, okay, information for reports for members. Has anyone got an update they'd like to highlight for one of their committees or county council, etc.? Seeing none. Inquiries. Thanks, Councillor Shank, for taking my inquiry. Anybody have any other inquiries they would like to bring forward at this time? Let's go ahead.
Okay, this was brought to my attention and I received quite a few phone calls on it already. In January, the county planning designated all your woods as natural heritage designation woodland. So you wouldn't find your place, your woods, everybody's woods,
No.
95,000 acres are zoned natural heritage designation woodland. So in that, all I'm saying, I don't need it right away, but somewhere at the end of June or July, or whenever you have time, all right, if we can get a report back how that's gonna affect us, because here I've got another person that went ahead and went through their bylaw or the county bylaw of what that designation was, is that they can assume it to be public land or can purchase that land to deem it to be public, all right, at a future time. So let's say if the county would go ahead and said behind James and Angela Hicks Woods, we'd like to keep that because we found one tree, they can make that into public, they can buy that piece of woods out under their designation, under their subsection of their bylaw of what they have underneath it. That's what it's stating, but before we go down that rabbit hole, I just would like to make sure if you guys can kind of review it. I know you don't have anything, you're busier than anything else to the 19th, but after holidays or whatever, I know this is going to fester amongst a lot of people in our county, especially in Greater Napanee, that if we could have just, I know we have a no cutting bylaw, it's a lot of the things, but there are some grave concerns out there. Because the letters are already going to Rick Reese and to a lot of people are getting wound up about it. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you share the county information with me or with all of us?
Yeah, just go on another county website, go ahead and look at their, I sent that to Brian.
Yeah.
To Brian, and they passed that in January, and like, if you want to mention just a couple quick things, it's an inquiry, it's nothing right now, but I just looked at, because when I got that, I looked at it and went, well, that's all it was. And I go, what the?
Feelings are a 9.
95,000 trees, yeah, but they just made it all natural heritage.
I was under the assumption it was just the areas that were shaded here, and I'm gonna find out more of that. I'd sent this off to Chris, but he was on holidays. I haven't heard back from him yet,
Yeah.
so.
But everything is green, but who gives us the right to go behind all the woods, south or anywhere else and just go, that's all natural heritage. Sorry, Mike, I told you I was gonna bring it up, so.
Yep.
I was being honest.
Through Mr. Deputy Mayor to Council. So this all stems from the province requiring through the 2024 provincial planning statement that upper tiers and lower tiers need to identify natural heritage areas, corridors, connections, broadly speaking. So the exercise that the county went through identified large contiguous blocks of woodland and identified them as I'll say a primary level natural heritage feature if it hits certain criteria, much like the Lear process, where there are linkages. So meaning where there might be some fragmented areas of undeveloped land, woodlands, for example, those would be identified as linkages and lower classification, lower priority areas. The intent with those designations is when there are development applications that come in, it's a flag for the municipalities to look into it in more detail. Do we need to, how deep of an assessment do we need to go into when there are development applications in those areas? But as far as the town is concerned at the moment, we don't have a tree cutting bylaw in effect. So meaning people don't need to come to the municipality and request permission to cut trees on their property. When somebody comes in and says, I want to put in a plan of subdivision in this woodland, then it's going to trigger a much more in-depth review based on that policy framework. Regarding the purchasing or the acquisition of land for public use, I'm not familiar specifically with that. I need to look into that in a little more detail. But the intent of the policy language and what staff have drafted into our town updated official plan, which we're planning to bring back for council adoption end of July. We've got our final drafts now that we've worked through the ministry and the county. We're in a position to locally adopt, which is great news. We've got some draft policies in there where we would leave the discretion of those the level of assessment to count to the local municipality. So meaning we would hold that hold the keys to what we would require applicants to do insofar as those assessments to help render our decisions. So the policy framework is really triggered by the province requiring a level of policy framework around these woodland areas. But we're trying to give ourselves at the local level enough flexibility to work broadly within that in a local context. So I'll need to look into it in more detail insofar as the acquisition side of it. But I did just want to reiterate that as of now, there is no tree cutting bylaw that the town has in effect. So people truly don't need to come and ask permission to cut trees on their property today.
So, sorry, Mike, but yeah. So the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because this went through the Lear study of that fiasco. So they went ahead and zoned a lot of the land in the south, just prime ag, boom. All right, which encompasses all your woodland and everything else. All right, so they're going, okay, there we go, we're prime ag, we understand it, we're farmers, there we go. Then they go ahead and say, well, Jones, okay, now the woods are all natural heritage woodland. So are we prime ag or are we natural? So we pay the tax, we own the farm, we're supposed to own the place, so we own the land. And we got everybody else telling us what you can do, what you can't do with the land and everything else. So can we not pay taxes on it? Because everybody's telling you what you can do and what you can't do on your own land, except the landowner, he has no rights. And why were they consulted? Why didn't the county consult after you're going through the Lear study and doing it all prime ag, which was major restrictions? Now they put a natural heritage woodland over top of your prime ag on the woods. Is it just a job word project? All right, for some government officials, and then they go ahead and come up with some of these ideas. It's mind boggling to me. Because, like, oh my, what rights does the landowner have? Any? You know what I mean? And where was the public consultation? You know what I mean? I never heard anything. You guys never heard anything. So, welcome to our free country. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Sorry. There we go. I ranted. There we go.
Okay. We did the inquiries, notice of motions. Is there any, notice of motions? Anybody? Seeing none? Any new business? Seeing none? Announcements? Anybody got announcements? I've got, one myself here. The celebration of the landing of the United Empire Loyalists is, on this weekend down at Adolphustown. It's on Sunday. If you've never been down to see it, it's worth going down. They have reenactments happening all weekend, and then of course they have the big celebration on the Sunday, and then after that, following at St. Albans Church, there's also a gathering there as well. Pardon me, Mike?
3 o'clock.
Yeah, 3 o'clock is the so noon is the main event at St. Albans Church at 3 o'clock. That's one of the reasons we picked June 6th for our meeting down here in Ward 1, celebration of the United Empire Loyalists. I've had the pleasure of spending a lot of my camp down there, so I've seen this many weekends, and it's really remarkable to see how these people really do the enactment. They're back to the cloth tents and living on the ground and cooking over the cauldron pots and stuff. It's truly an amazing event to watch and see, and I recommend everybody should take it in. Okay, anybody else? CAO's remark?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I'd be remiss, I just wanted to thank Chief Armstrong and his team who had an all hands on deck last night to a fire in the south of Napanee. Tragically, a landowner lost some property, but thanks to the diligent work of Chief Armstrong and his team, much was saved, and I just wanted them to know that we're grateful.
Just to touch a little bit more on that, I apologize, Chief, for missing you, but the efforts from all local fire departments all around, our guys were not hesitant to call in help, and we had fire departments, I believe, from and I'll get corrected if I'm wrong, but I believe we had fire departments from Mohawk, Bath, Stone Mills, and who else we have? Deseronto, yes.
And then again, we haven't had a station coverage, your worship, from Kingston and Odessa.
Yeah, it was just absolutely amazing to see everybody work together like that, moving the water, sending the water back and forth. So great job by all, and it's been all over social media how wonderful the fire services did and how they performed. It's been really warming to see it. Thank you. Okay, forward calendars. Everybody had a chance to look at the forward calendar. Questions or concerns? Seeing none. Okay, confirm proceedings. I need a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of Corporation of the Town of Greater Napanee, bylaw number 2026-054, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at this regular session held on June 9th, 2026, to be read a first, second, and finally passed at this, and the mayor and the clerk signed the same to affix therefore the seal of the corporation. Moved by Councillor Hicks, second by Councillor Davey. All in favor? Need a motion to adjourn. Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Davey. Thank you, folks. It was a great evening. Everybody have a good night.